Assalamu alaikum everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be speaking about something that people seem to have a problem with.
Yeah.
Which is quite strange.
A lot of people have an opinion about why we homeschool our kids. We have made a video before about the reasons why we homeschool, so I'll link that in the description or I'll pop it up here somewhere. So today we are going to be talking about major misconceptions about homeschooling. We'll talk about the misconception and then we'll talk about our opinion about this misconception, right? So one of the biggest ones is people will tell us, well, you are not socializing your kids, so
Wrong.
they're going to be socially awkward.
Wrong.
And they won't be able to talk to anybody.
Wrong.
So wrong.
So let's jump into that one. Our kids are probably some of the least socially awkward children you will ever meet. There's a bit of an asterisk here because our youngest, she grew up most of her life during the pandemic, lockdowns and all of at that time where we're all socially awkward, right? 2 full
years of her 5 years of life.
So she's a little bit more hesitant in getting out there and being more open and making friends. She does a great job. Once she's comfortable with the room, then it's much easier for her. But our oldest, Amina, she's 7. She remembers a lot more before the pandemic and after. So she's a social butterfly.
Both of them are.
They are, absolutely.
They're both not, like, even when we talk about Zainab, like our youngest one, having gone through the pandemic and being a little bit more hesitant, she's not socially awkward. She's just a little bit on the shy side. So even when she meets...
could be genetic.
Yeah, which could be, because he was too.
Very.
So when she meets new people, she is a little bit more on the wary side of who they are, kind of wants to get to know them a little bit, and then we'll open up a little bit more, which is kind of like how kids should be anyway. They shouldn't be full on, full-fledged.
In your face, yelling, screaming.
Yeah, getting up in your business kind of thing. So that's a huge misconception. Number one, I want to say something about that in terms of the socialization aspect. They are always socializing with us. People forget that they're constantly talking to people all day long. So because our kids are at home with us and we have been talking to them since day one, since they've been born, it's super easy for them to interact. So they're not hesitant at all to talk to people in terms of that, the socialization.
I've always made it a point, again, having spent a lot of time raising children in my life other than my own children, just growing up and with different kids in and out of the house and whatnot. I always, with our kids, I've always spoken to them as if they were adults.
Yeah, not baby talk. We didn't do the, goo goo gaga. We didn't do that with our kids.
I remember you thought it was so strange. You're like, why are you talking to her like she's grown up? She doesn't understand.
Even if she was a week old.
Yeah, so I've always done that, obviously in a soft, kind of tone. And I don't know if that's a reason or definitely something that helped because both of our kids started speaking at a very young age.
Very young age. I'm going to actually insert some clips of our kids talking when they were super, super young.
I love you. You love
me too.
We're a
Happy
family with a
they have
and a
Mappy.
won't you say you
Yeah,
me
too. Twinkle, 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 how I wonder what you are. Abba, what I like I'm in the girl. Twinkle, twinkle, little, how I wonder what you are. Abba, what I like I'm in the girl. Twinkle, twinkle, little, how I wonder. Hold on, baby.
So that you guys can see, both of them said mama at 6 months old. They were full on, by the age of 1, they had multiple words, over
sentences.
Yeah, sentences. And then by the age of 2, they were speaking fluently, you and I. So it's crazy what kids can pick up on as long as you're talking to them.
Yeah, so definitely not socially awkward.
Yeah.
I think it has to do a lot with the parents. If the parents are socially awkward, obviously the kids are going to be socially awkward.
Or if parents are neglecting and not talking to the kids.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And are in their own world.
It all comes down to not just homeschooling your children, but also teaching them how to live outside the house as well.
Yeah, exactly. Next thing is homeschool kids don't make friends.
If that was only the case, our house would be a lot quieter.
Our kids have plenty of friends, and like our friends are all parents for the most part, and they all have kids. And the great thing is they're all around the same age. So when we get together, it's a really good time.
And those people that we're friends with that don't have children are basically large children.
Yeah, they're basically large children. Yeah,
So
they love
just
kids.
get right in on that level, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We absolutely love all of our friends and their children, and it's a great circle of friends that we have, and there's a lot of kids.
Yeah, definitely.
And there always seem to be adding more to the group. So
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people think it's a negative thing that kids can't make their own friends, but if you think about it, when you are in school and you're put in a classroom, you don't really get to pick your friends. You kind of are stuck with the people that are around you, and that's like who you have to pick from.
yeah, and also, you know, with going to school, you have the pressures of not society, I guess, but pressures of the school itself and of the cliques and the groups, and you might want to make friends with people. You might have that heart, like you just want to make friends with everybody, but you know, this group doesn't accept you because you don't dress like this, or that group doesn't like you because you're not like this, or
Pressure.
whatever, right? So you have that pressure put on kids that you have to first conform to what they are, or how they think, or whatever, in order to get into the group, as opposed to our kids just being readily and freely accepted amongst all of their friends.
all
right?
of their friends, which is so great. So next thing is, people say parents are not qualified to be teachers. So here's the thing, you guys. We follow a curriculum that is made by a teacher, and that's what teachers do too. Teachers follow a curriculum, and it's funny that we kind of use the same thing and teach based on that curriculum.
We're teaching our children based upon the curriculum that they're required to fulfill.
Exactly. And in terms of like the learning aspect of it, I feel like they get so much more out of it because we're one-on-one with them. Whereas a teacher in school, it's one teacher and 30 kids. So like how many of those kids are actually learning on a level that is like really valuable? Whereas if, you know, our kids can't grasp a certain concept, we're right there. We're teaching them. We're able to kind of work it out together.
Yeah. They don't have that time, that awkward, like, put your hand up and wait.
Yeah.
And then you're
and be embarrassed to say that you don't understand something.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? That's a big part of it, is that if a child doesn't understand something, they're not going to want to tell everybody, I don't know how to do this, right? Or if maybe they're a slow learner, right? Maybe they need that one-on-one help. And you see children, they have teachers' aides, or maybe the teacher's going to them more frequently. It definitely is a hit to their self-esteem. And having that one-on-one capacity, we're able to burn through an 8-hour school day in like a maximum of 2 hours, because it's directly one-on-one. They're getting their work done. There's no, messing around, distractions. We're able to do it. And in that time, we're not rushing them. They're not forced. It's very casual. So they're able to do that work in a much shorter period of time. And then they have, the rest of the entire day to do their
whatever.
own thing.
Yeah, to do whatever. Next thing is that we're not preparing them for the real world, you guys. I would beg to differ, because kids that go to school are in school in a classroom for 8-10 hours a day. We explore the world because we're not restricted to a classroom. If we want to do schooling outside, we can do schooling outside. If you want to do it in a library, we can do it in a library. If you want to just do the 2-3 hours of schooling at home and then take our kids out, trail walks, hiking, shopping, cooking, baking, whatever it is that we want to do, that's the real world. And they're exposed to way more of it, in my opinion, than kids that go to school.
Yeah, absolutely. Our children, whilst in school, have traveled to foreign countries to fundraise for charities and meeting people and seeing the reality of life outside of this cushy life that we live here. They're junior entrepreneurs. They're humanitarians. They've done so much, and they do so much in their young little lives. Most adults haven't done what our children have done in terms of real world.
It's so true.
And on top of all of that, our children are going to, they're my children, they're her children, they're our children. We own them. We are the ones who pay for everything of theirs. We're the ones who provide for them. We're the ones who take care of them. And yes, we are the ones who will teach them what we believe to be right, what we believe to be correct. Even if other people disagree, we don't care because they're our children and it's our responsibility to give them the best possible upbringing according to what we believe, not what anyone else believes.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like they are so much more versed in language and culture and other religions and other people because we expose them to so much, because we have that flexibility. Like, we're lucky. I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but for us, like, we are able to work from home. So because of that reason, we have so much more freedom in traveling and going out and doing different things and giving our kids experiences that they wouldn't normally have in school.
And I find a lot of the time when these comments come, almost like, you know, they're looking down on you as if, you know, I feel like, especially with most people that I talk to about homeschooling, all the people who don't homeschool, when they ask me these questions, like the dads and stuff, they're like, oh, I wish I could, I wish I could, because they see just
the benefit.
I mean, you're protecting your children, right? You know, as a child protection social worker, you know the disastrous things that take place in elementary schools, right? Let alone high school.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, we grew up in the West, so we went to school just like
seen
everybody
it all.
else. So we know what's there. I know what's there. You know, I'm not going to date myself here, but it's been a minute since I graduated. So, you know, and we didn't have cell phones back then. Like, I was the first person in my school, pretty much, to have a cell phone. And, you know, now you look at the dangers and the harms that every kid has in the palm of their hand. It's a crazy world. So it's our job to protect them, and that this is what we choose to do.
The next misconception is people saying that they are slow learners, that homeschoolers are slow to learn things. And I am like, what? That is like the complete opposite. Our kids, where they are academically, are way more advanced than like kids their age.
Correct.
So for instance, Amina, when she started grade 1, she was doing grade 2, 3 work. That was her curriculum.
At the end of her grade 2, sorry to interrupt, at the end of this coming school year, she will have completed the curriculum for grade 4. That's
crazy.
So that just goes to show that what they're getting is much more condensed, and it's much more beneficial because, I mean, if you put our kid in grade 2, they're going to just far exceed you know, their classmates because where they are and what they've learned.
And Zainab is technically starting senior kindergarten and has been homeschooling for 2 years now, and she can count to 100, and kids don't even know really like how to count to like 10 or 20 at this age. Like,
I'm still trying to figure it out.
And so I feel like it's the fact that we are homeschooling them, they learn so much more, and there's so much more value behind what they learn. All right, and our last point or misconception is that only religious people homeschool. This is what people say.
I don't even know why people would say that.
I know, like that's kind of like saying like only brown people homeschool or only white people homeschool. It's like you're really segregating people that homeschool when it's a huge community.
Yeah, for sure. And I think obviously when like religious people, we have our convictions, we have our beliefs, we have our set of moral guidelines, and unfortunately, or for whatever, you know, school systems have definitely changed since when we were young, and there's a lot more things within that school system that we don't agree with, or that we wouldn't teach our children at such a young age, we wouldn't indoctrinate our children with. Therefore, you're going to see probably more religious people say, you know what, this doesn't mesh with me or my faith, my beliefs, therefore I'm going to do what I can to homeschool my kids.
However, we have been to several different homeschool field trips where there have been completely like a huge community of people that are not religious at all. And it's been amazing to see how big the homeschool community really is. Like in Toronto, there's people from all different walks of life.
So basically what I heard is that only non-religious people put their kids in the public school system.
Oh, that's an interesting concept. I mean, when people are saying only religious people homeschool, that's kind of like directing it in that opposite direction as well. So
neither one makes sense, and neither one is true.
Yeah, so neither one is true. So
take it for what it's worth.
Misconceptions, that's what this is. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. We hope you enjoy our homeschool series. You can tap our homeschool playlist to see more homeschool related stuff. And
somewhere.
Yeah, and we hope you guys enjoyed. Leave us a comment down below. Do you know someone that's homeschooled? Are you homeschooled? Have you considered homeschooling? And if you have any more questions for us about homeschooling, drop them down below and we'll try to comment and reply to you and answer your questions.
That's it, guys. Bye for now. Assalamu alaikum.